Carlos Rene with Dega. Is that how you pronounce it? Dega, or is it Diga?
It's Dega, yeah, because it's actually in Spanish, it's Descentralizar Gaming.
Ah, okay. Well, very, very clever. I don't speak Spanish. My wife does. We lived in Puerto Rico for 6 months, and she, she was the one that did all the talking for us. I just, stood and didn't know if people were like fascinated by my height or they were planning on robbing me. I never had a clue what was going on. And I'm joking. We made a lot of friends down there, though. It was a good time. It was stressful. It was just so hot. It was just so hot. I'm 7 foot tall, man. I'm so big, and the heat just didn't treat me well. But first of all, I want to say I appreciate your help with the Crow Tokens account, because this is something that has been fascinating me, and it's been really starting to resonate with me on a lot of levels. The whole AI. I've been reading about and experimenting with. I'm actually about to try and start playing with it on another computer, because I want to start really fiddling with like the ELIZA model and really try to familiarize myself with that, because it seems like, based on the fact that it's open source, it seems like there's a lot of potential there for building and extrapolating from what you're provided and kind of growing that out. Now, I wasn't familiar with Dega up until our introduction, and then I started reading through your website, and I was reading through the white paper, and I'm like, how have I not heard about this yet? What is Dega as a company? And well, I guess let's start there. Like, what exactly is Dega, and why is it that when I posted about it on Twitter, there were a lot of people like, I'm glad you finally found out. Like, what have I been missing?
Yeah, no, I mean, Dega, first off, I would say above everything else is a vision, right? And our vision is to empower people in emerging markets to be able to build, deploy, and monetize games, right? And that's where we're started. But now we're expanding the vision to include artificial intelligence as well. Why? It's not because it's a fad, right? The thing is, it's like calling the internet a fad, right? It's something that it's empowering. It's something that levels the playing field for people around the world. And we believe it should be at the core of every software development going forward. I would actually say it should be at the core of any business or initiative that anybody wants to do moving forward, right? And we can go in a little bit into the details of what I believe it's coming up. But just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I've been doing computer science for about 14 years. The first half of my career was in the enterprise world, large companies like Wells Fargo Bank, Abbott Pharmaceuticals, governments, and then the second half has been more innovation. I've been working with AI since the day when IBM Watson launched back in 2016. And then I've also done a whole bunch of blockchain development for clients in the USA, Europe. And I also led the Cardano sidechains program for about 13 months before starting Dega. I was leading mostly the EVM side of things, but I also got to work with the whole team and in IOHK and different programs. So that's kind of like what led to where we are now. And essentially, what we want to do with Dega is just allow anybody with a $100 smartphone to be able to deploy games and now agents as well, to realize their vision, express their creativity and their values.
What kind of games are we talking about? Are we talking about like little silly mobile games? Are we talking about like what genre specifically? Is there a specific genre of gaming that this system is going to be able to facilitate, or like what are its pros and cons, limitations? What's going to be possible for someone like me to like? What can I effectively build on this once it launches?
Yeah, so the idea has always for us been focused to enable 2D gaming, right? Because actually it's the largest category by far. Like there's something that people, we hear the big brands and the big names, but in terms of a market, 2D mobile games dwarf AAA games, right?
So sprite-based games, basically.
Yeah,
okay,
that's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So, okay, so 2D sprite-based, you can do a hell of a lot with that. So give me an example of maybe the maximum power. I guess you could say. Like, well, give me a game that exists today that might be, just pushing the limits of your platform if I were trying to build it using Dega or AI.
Yeah, I mean, I can, we're going to be doing stuff that's very similar to the rogue-based games that you've seen, probably. Stuff like survivors.io, for example. It's just that, kind of like that style, but applied not just to roguelike, right? To a whole variety of different games that you'll be able to create with it. And now, well, we even did a proof of concept about a year ago with a 2D simulated world powered by large language model agents. I can send you the link for that.
You've got to send me that, dude. You just gave me chills. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that I it's such a big deal. And I feel like, so I was actually just telling my wife about this because, I've been hearing the AI this, AI that for a while, right? And I've been dabbling in it for I don't know how long. And, back in the day, 2017, we had the ICO thing and, then we had the DeFi thing and then that became NFTs and then it was meme coins, right? We've got all these kind of gimmicks to draw eyes to blockchain, to crypto, right? And then this whole AI narrative started kicking off. And I think to myself, typically I ignore a lot of it. Like I dabble, I play. Like I've done the NFTs. I have a little meme coin, I have little things just to be a part of the community, primarily to learn more about it, right? Like, what is this about? The best way I learn is by doing. And then that kind of helps educate me so that I can educate other people, right? And the AI thing, this is not a fad. This does not strike me as like this is going to be a come and go type thing. Like, oh, it's big in this market, but it's going to be gone in the next one, and then it's going to be something else. It's starting to really click with me that this is almost like crypto itself for many of us back in 2017.
Exactly. That's a good analogy. It's like saying Dexus, right? Yeah, I mean, maybe. Give me a second. I'm muted.
Yeah. Okay. You're good.
Yeah. I was saying it's kind of like Dexes, right? Maybe people today don't wake up and say, I want to find the next Dex, right? But, Dex has changed our life already, right? And then they're a core part of the infrastructure that we use in crypto. So you can look at AI, something like that within crypto. But if we're talking about the broader category of AI, itself, it's kind of like software 2.0, right? Like a new type of software. So like I was saying at the beginning, anything that anybody wants to do right now going forward, if you're not analyzing what artificial intelligence tools, platforms, and models you can apply to it, you're going to be blown away by your competition. Your competition is going to smoke you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because effectively now I've been watching a lot of interviews with a lot of AI developers. And I've been watching these interviews that are basically saying, listen, the companies that you're used to seeing today, they're getting smaller because now we're going to have single person operations utilizing AI to build billion-dollar market cap corporations now. And so it's like you're either playing ball in that field or you're like playing stickball in the alley somewhere by yourself, like not doing anything because it's just the way everything is changing. So
yeah.
The first question I have, when would someone like me, when will the general market be able to start experimenting and building 2D gaming with Dega?
So we were prioritizing about midway last year, we were prioritizing more the game component, right? But then as we were moving forward, had more teams and people coming up to us because I showed them the demo that I'm going to share with you of the simulator. Well, we could play it. I can share my screen. I'll do it in a few minutes.
Sure.
But essentially, when they started seeing that, they started asking more about the AI side. So it's something like, we're like, why are we focusing on the gaming side of things if what everybody's knocking on our door for is agents, right? So we reprioritize that, right? And that the release of anybody being able to create their agent is coming in about 2 weeks, give or take. And then after that, then we're going to start working on the integrations of those agents within the game. So probably the first type of game that you'll be able to do is a simulation game, right? But we're now, instead of kind of like us just sitting, with me and my COO and just saying, let's do this, let's do that. We want the market to kind of like drive the features that they want, right? So if we're releasing agents right now and we're doing Twitter, we're doing Telegram, we're doing Discord integration. For example, if somebody comes and people start knocking on our door and saying, guys, we need the agents to operate on, I don't know, Nostr or WhatsApp, then that's the next feature that's coming, right?
Right.
And then when we get enough knocks and saying, now I want this agent in a game, it'll be there, right? So kind of like, truly a product market fit driven development.
So Dega, when did the Dega token launch? I'm just curious.
It was, I think, July 25th.
Okay. So I went out last night and I found the token and I bought some. I bought like 12.5 million of these Dega tokens, right? And because I've been looking at things like I've been looking like the Eliza, model with the AI 16Z. And I've been looking at a lot of these and I've been looking at their market caps and what they're doing. And I actually, it wasn't 4 or 5 days ago that I was telling a friend of mine, like, because he's like, we're trying to, he's got this group of builders and he's like, we're trying to figure out what to do. And I'm like, well, obviously AI is what you need to be doing. And I'm like, you need to build an AI agent platform on Cardano. I'm like, that's $1 billion market cap tomorrow. I'm like, you just got to build it, right? This is literally like, it was before I started talking to you. It was like a day or two before I started talking to you. And
Destiny. That's destiny.
I'm telling you, man, it's one of the reasons why I got so excited once I figured out who the hell you were and what you were doing. Like, it was just a casual intro, which I get those all the time, but I didn't click with me like what you were actually doing. So, and I was looking at like Virtuals, right? Like Virtuals Protocol, which is Base's AI launch platform. Their market cap right now, like they have 1 billion tokens total supply, but their market cap is $3.2 billion right now. And they're just a Base system. They're an AI launch pad on Base, right? And I'm thinking, okay, so now I find you have this token that basically has been sitting more or less idle. Like if I look at it, it's been pretty idle as you guys are just building, figuring out like we're going to go with this direction. And it makes sense that you're going the AI direction first, bringing things to market because that's where the demand is. But effectively these AI agents, here's another idea that I was talking about on my channel. And this all comes together as to why, knowing you now is exciting for me, because I was explaining how I wanted to kind of pivot my social media platform, put it on chain, and then use the profiles to create and fuel AI agents of the users, right? Which would effectively allow people to license their own AI characters based on them for gaming. Because how many gaming systems out there are going to be open world? How many of these metaverses are going to be out there that want NPCs that are like real people? Well, what if you could license these models that are already established and then plug them in from social media profiles? Oh, this guy's funny as hell. I want somebody like that in my game. I'm going to license that. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I wanted to try and focus on. And I was explaining this to a friend of mine, and I was talking about this. This was last week on this channel. So, I was talking about what I wanted to do, and I think I explained it on Twitter. So the fact that you are basically pivoting a bit to focus on this AI Launchpad, this is a big deal because this is effectively what I would like to really dive into. So you're talking about 2 weeks for this Launchpad?
Yeah.
And this is a multi-chain Launchpad. I care primarily, obviously, about Cardano. Now explain to me, what are all of the chains that people are going to be able to launch these AI agents to work with?
When we're launching right now, the first two are going to be Cardano and Solana, right?
You said the S word. Oh, Oh, okay.
For us, it's always very important to let people know that, we believe that everybody has the right to express themselves.
Hmm.
So wherever you want to build your vision, we want to help you, right?
Sure.
Of course, as you know, I'm former IOHK,
Hmm.
right? And Cardano has always been at the top of our priority list,
Hmm.
right? Everything that we've deployed, our state pools, our NFT launch, everything has been prioritized for Cardano.
Hmm.
And then after those two, we're going to be integrating EVM
Hmm.
as well.
What
So
hurdles do
those
you
are
think
going to
you're
be the
going to
first
run
thing.
into with EVM stuff, given like the security issues and like anytime I see EVM, I get weary of like security flaws because there generally always seems to be some sort of security issue related to EVMs. It's primarily where a lot of hacks take place is in EVMs.
Well, for us, we're not building any particularly new module in terms of the agents. The agents are going to manipulate existing things, and something like ERC20 token, dexes. Those things are they've been Unisort's been alive for like what 5 years now or 6 years. So I'm pretty sure nothing's going to happen there. So same thing with Aave and other systems, right? So the agent is just going to build and integrate on top of existing modules, right? We're not going to push like a new contract or a new system that came online 5 days ago,
Gotcha.
right? And that's a policy we're going to manage for all chains, right? Like we got to let the product mature a little bit, and then we'll integrate that through the agents. Right?
So when you say modules, and this is as much my education as well as anyone watching this, right? That's just kind of we keep seeing the AI, AI this, AI that, but a lot of people still don't really fully understand what AI agents are and what modules are. So effectively, like the AI agent is basically, I guess you could think of it as like an autonomous computer program that utilizes various databases to achieve XYZ, whatever you're telling it to do. Is that close enough on a base level?
I would say from a software engineering perspective, if we boil it down to the fundamentals, that's what it is. But there's things that emerge, like phenomena or properties that emerge on top of fundamental things, just like us, right? Like imagine if I said, well, people are just blood, bones, and meat, right? I mean, technically I'm right, but that's not how you would describe people. Right. So it's kind of like the same thing with agents. Yes, they're exactly how you said it, right? Like multiple databases and software that's running autonomously. But there's a lot of that, right? That's not AI. So what makes it different is the fact that it has basically the knowledge of humanity compressed into it, right? And you can tap into that knowledge and add to it, right? To essentially build out somewhat. And I don't want to sound like I'm hypey or bullshitting here, but it's kind of like somewhat semi-sentient, right? Like it understands. It like, for example, the other day we're running an experiment with another agent, and my COO, which is like kind of like bullying it a little bit, like teasing it a little bit, and the agent like detected that and stopped like answering in a serious manner and started just putting emojis, just like low. He was always polite. But he's like, nah, I'm not gonna come here and debate with you seriously if you're just messing with me. So that's like a phenomenon that there's no database or software that can do that outside of the modern large language models combined with an agentic framework.
So yeah, and I absolutely get that. That's a little of the scary part, right? Especially given how many of these language models are ultimately built with a particular bias, and when you kind of mix that bias with this sentiment, that could get really hairy real quick. So we'll see what happens there. But effectively, I guess the point I'm making is that if you look at AI agent like your iPhone, it's like, here's your iPhone, and then you can go download these modules that empower that iPhone further. So, these modules are different systems, they're plugins that you could effectively plug into your AI agent to extrapolate its abilities, its functions, and its power. So, two questions I have is, when you guys launch your Launchpad, day one, I'm going to Dega. I assume the website's going to be changing and everything with the launch. It's kind of breaking a lot of this stuff down. When I go to the site, am I clicking build your agent, connecting a wallet if necessary? And then what? I'm seeing a GUI interface that's kind of breaking down, here's step one, here's step two. What sort of personality do you want? What sort of functions do you want? Here's a list of modules that you can implement to make this more like, how expansive is the customization going to be at launch? And then what do you see being added to that? And then third, how does the Dega token play into that ecosystem?
Great. Yeah, happy to address that. So, well, there's a website that's just like the company website, right? Dega.org, but we have degaplatform.com, which is where we deploy all our applications. So that's where it'll be. And then we don't call it a launchpad per se because we're not forcing you to launch a token. You can do it, but it's not going to be obligated. So if somebody wants to deploy their agent first, launch their token later, or just deploy an agent without a token, they can do so, right? So we're not limiting you in that sense. And when you go there, yeah, you'll see a list of all the publicly available agents that are already posting, and then you'll be able to click new. You'll fill out a form. The form asks you, the main thing there is going to be the description of the character, right? And then from that, we automatically generate a whole bunch of other fields, right? Because there's actually, it's a pretty big, it's a pretty large amount of information that you have to provide overall for the agent, but we automate even that part with AI, right? So you put in your description, we generate topics, conversation examples, a lore, a biography, and so on. You can edit it right after you create it. So you create the agent, you can edit the personality as much as you want, add more stuff, remove stuff, however you want. And then you can plug in your Twitter. Those are going to be the first modules that we're going to have available, right? So customization of your personality for your agent, deployment on Twitter, and also minting your token, right? And then after that, the next priorities are Discord, Telegram integration, right? And then after that, we want to get actually a feel from the people using it and see what's kind of like the next thing that's coming, right? Because we can go anywhere, right? We can freaking integrate LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever we want, but it matters of what people want. So that's what we're going to be, that's the process that we're going to be having right now.
Will there be a form of like marketplace that maybe I'm using Dega tokens to buy, additional modules that I can plug into my agent? How will that expand in its offering? Like how is that going to play out?
Yeah. I mean, there's gonna be first a free tier, then there's gonna be a paid tier, and then there's gonna be modules that you're gonna be able to buy, and then for all of them, part of the fees we're gonna take them to buy and burn Dega, right? But we're gonna allow you to pay with like Dega and also with other currencies because we can just do the burning ourselves behind the scenes, right? And all the Dega that you used to pay us as well, we will burn that, or at least a percentage of that. We're still finalizing those, the financial aspect of it, but that's kind of like how it ties in, right? So the more fees and activity the platform has, the more deflationary pressure we will create on the Dega token.
Okay, interesting. So you've got the Launchpad that's set to launch here in 2 weeks, roughly a couple of weeks. Now, I've heard you and you've commented a lot privately about burning Dega. Like that's obviously, I guess, good for tokenomics, right? But like, as you're burning these tokens, what the idea is, to increase the utilization of it while the supply is being lowered until it reaches like a happy medium between its use demand and supply. Like what is the overall purpose of burning the tokens on a regular basis?
It's kind of like the easiest way for the people that are, involved in the ecosystem to benefit from the activities that we generate across the board, right? Because if I'm on multiple chains generating fees from different chains, and if we're building multiple modules, agents first, then theme builders and so on, and then, later on, we would love to have third parties create stuff with our technology and integrate Dega as well. If we wanted to kind of like, imagine if you wanted to accumulate fees across multiple chains and then try to consolidate that and then distribute it to multiple wallets. that very quickly becomes a very big nightmare in terms of being able to plug everybody in. And we've done it. We've done a lot of multi-chain, so it's brutally more complicated than just doing a single chain. So this deflationary mechanism is kind of like the easiest way, right? You just go to a DEX, you put in the fees, you buy it, you burn it, and then the market will arbitrage across the exchanges, across multiple chains, and problem solved in that sense.
So basically, the more chains that you're offering the functionalities to within the platform, the revenue that's generated by, whether it's selling additional modules to empower your agent or whatever, you're immediately converting that into Dega and then burning it?
Yes.
Okay. So because when I was looking at the chart, it's obvious that you guys aren't like just dumping your Dega tokens, because it's been very just kind of flat line for a while. Like, it's not like you guys are putting out a bunch of bullshit hype and then you're selling your tokens on that hype so that you can fund your operation. No, right? It's obvious it's not happening. So my question
all selling has been from the community, right? From the rewards that we distributed, and to be fair, it's their tokens, they have the right to do whatever they want with them.
Right.
But ours are locked in Team Finance. The Team Finance platform allows you to lock your tokens, and we locked there the Dega team, the DAO, and the foundation tokens are there locked until July this year. And then when we unlock that, we'll just take a little bit just for the rewards of some of the team members, not included. And then I'll lock mine again, and I'll lock them for like 2 years. Like, that's not what I'm interested at all.
Yeah,
right?
no. That's my point. I can tell that it's not. So my question is, how are you funding all of this? Like, if you're not selling your token and building a market that empowers you to sell it here and there when you need capital to pay this guy or that bill, how is the project funded overall?
Well, there's two things there. We did launch an ISPO. Right. And through there, a lot of the Cardano community has supported us. And then we also did our NFT sales, which of the Dega elements, which are going to be also utilized within the platform to access certain features. And we, from that, we generated a good amount of revenue. One of the few crypto companies with actual revenue. And then with these modules, besides, doing our direct offering ourselves, we're also white labeling it to other partners. We already got a few parties interested. They want to, deploy it on, their L2, their sidechain, whatever, with their own brand. So also that generates revenue, right? So
I could white label this on like a Crow token platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's something to look into. I'm always looking for things to kind of, I created that Crow token and I just airdropped them to thousands. I airdropped them to like a couple thousand people and did a fair launch for it. And just everybody said, you need to do it. You should do it. So I finally did it, but it's like, I'm always trying to figure out what's its purpose. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm always trying to look for things that would help the community grow.
We could do something pretty cool, like if you're open to ideas.
Oh, I'm always open to ideas, brother. I love cool.
For example, like imagine, there's this concept. It's a little bit complicated because I haven't published the article about it yet, but we're calling it AI derivatives. So imagine you create, let's say, the Crow team, right? The Crow team, and then other people start, creating liquidity pools backed by the Crow with their, let's call it red Crow or blue Crow or whatever, right? So other people can create their own Crow AI agents, right? That are part of the Crow team.
It would be the murder of crows, man.
The murderous Crow. And then, and they're all tied in LPs with the Crow token, right? So it kind of like unifies all of you guys. And then, you can work as ambassadors of the brand, your own team, your own events. We're going to integrate a battle module so that the agents can battle each other in Twitter, right? And you can upgrade your agents as well. So, you can have a special Crow shield or a Crow sword that you can put to your agent, and then that boosts its stats when it's battling the other agents, and so on and so forth. So you can create a whole economy of brand and marketing and gaming around your Crow token.
I am so in. Like whatever we got to do, I'm so into that. And I know everybody watching this right now is punching it something into the comments as we speak.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's cool. We're definitely going to have to talk about that. So I guess at this point you've got the 2-day or the 2D gaming, which I'm actually personally interested in because there's so much stuff. I've always got to keep myself busy and I'm always looking for new things to do that. And I have to be learning, man. I'm like a shark in the sense that if I'm sitting still, I'll just die. I have to constantly be learning new things, doing new things. And the older I get, the more those things matter. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely very much interested in this. When this kicks off, I think this is going to be a really big deal. And the thing of it is I didn't find out about it until Ian had made the introduction. And I'm like, holy cow, this is already coming. This is already something that's being built. And I've heard nothing about it. And it's one of the reasons why we're doing this now. I feel like everybody needs to know, like, this is happening. This is coming. And it is, and just so that you guys know, the Crow Tokens X account is automated right now, powered by Dega. So this is kind of an experiment of like, this is what the model looks like. We're going to be expanding on that. At some point, I know that I've got like 230 full-length PDF trading books from like the dawn of time that are going to get loaded into this, so that if it's basically able to teach, conversate, discuss all of these different strategies, all of the if it has to do with trading, it's going to be in this database. Now, well, is that going to be a function? Like, this is basically a RAG function, effectively. Is that going to be like a standalone module that you can add, or is that just going to come stock with all new agents that people are going to be able to load up with whatever they want? Are there going to be limitations to that? Like, how is that going to be?
Yeah, it's definitely a RAG feature, what you're describing, right? It would not be good for fine tuning because you need more data and it's more expensive. But for RAG, it's perfect. So, and for the audience that don't know, RAG is a retrieval augmented generation. It's a technique or kind of like an architecture that you use to allow agents to be able to access external information or specific information that's not within the AI model itself, right? Even though the AI might have been trained with that information, they tend to forget, right? These are systems that are what you would call stochastic models. They're not deterministic, so sometimes they get fuzzy with their memories, just like humans, and that's why they need RAG, right? So they can actually pull up some information, read it really fast, and then give it to you, right? And the simplest familiarity that I know that everybody in the audience will have with RAG is when you go to ChatGPT and you have the paid version and you tell it, pull from the web the latest on Cardano, right? And it pulls information and then it tells you something. That is RAG, right? So it's a feature that will be available, but that one won't be in the free tier, right? It'll be one of the paid tiers. You'll have a storage limitation, but it'll be a lot, right? Like a few gigabytes of worth of information you'll be able to upload, and then it'll take some time for us to process that because the data needs to be, you need some PDF are text directly, so we can extract that text and transform it into what you would call a vectorized database. And then from that, the agent can access it. But some PDFs are like screenshots, right? Or they're copied or, scanned. So those have to go through a different process. They got to go through OCR, and then the text needs to be tied into a particular document, etc. So,
maybe it's better to have guidelines. Like if you're going to feed your RAG with data, maybe don't use screenshots. Maybe go through your materials and make sure that that's the case. Or even, is it easier to import data like that? Like let's say I took a PDF, but I exported it as a Word document. Is that easier to work with than a PDF, or is PDF pretty much universal?
Yeah, PDF is pretty much
Okay.
universal. All the tooling out there is made to absorb that. So I'd actually say it's kind of like the easiest way to consolidate
Okay.
different type of information. It's a pretty good format.
Okay. Something tells me that as people watch this, that token's probably going to go up. So man, I'm really excited about all of this. I think this is going to be something really special, and I'm looking forward to not only all these ideas that you have, because these are just exciting for me. And I've also, and the thing is, I know you're busy, so I don't even know how probable it's going to be, but obviously I've kind of outlined what I'm still looking. I think a lot of people think Crow Score is like, I've just left it. It's like, I haven't. I was getting so many people into this Crow Score thing, and I'm like, but this is such a complex, I don't think people realize how complex a system that is. And it's like, I think it's been a matter of kind of letting the technology grow a little first so that it's a little more reliable. And I think we're there now. I don't know if you guys are going to be the team to be able to do that or not, but that'll be good for a private chat here soon to kind of figure out what you guys think of all of that. Because I just think it's the way to go.
That's the other one you shared with me, right?
Yeah.
The other project information. Okay.
Yeah. It was the two Word docs that are like lengthy. There's a lot of metrics. I'm basically trying to figure out how to effectively review and analyze projects based on historical data, current data, the way the market changes, all of the different metrics associated with a cryptocurrency based project. And then, it's like, how do there's just so much to it. Right. And then but I think AI is going to be the best way to go about that. So, so yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff coming, folks, at some point. And, dude, I'm super jacked. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you feel we should?
Yeah, I think that, the only other thing that I'd like to share, is that right now we're kind of like the internet when it had like 6 pages, right? Like I remember you would go to your homepage and you could see the whole internet. Literally, right? That's why the first search engines didn't need to be that complicated. But we're going to see a moment with agents, and it's going to happen faster than the internet because it's going to use the internet, right? So I think that in probably the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to cross 1 billion autonomous agents running around the world, right? And then very quickly after 1 billion, it's going to be 20 billion, because then agents are starting to create other agents. That's already happening. So I would, just let everybody know that this is the moment when you got to take action, when you got to learn, when you got to get involved. And again, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You could be doing cupcakes. That's fine. But you got to start thinking about how you're going to use this technology to help yourself, your business, your organization, even if you're a nonprofit, how you can help your nonprofit. Whatever it is you're doing, take action now. Because once it blows up, it'll be too much. It'll be like a tsunami. It'll be like trying to drink out of a hose, right? Yeah, like a fire hose, right? It'll be too much. So get in it now. Get involved. On our side, we're always happy to chat. Anybody that wants support with the technology, we're here to help you out. And besides the agents, just hit us up regarding anything artificial intelligence or Web3 gaming, and we're happy to explore collaborations.
Well, and I also want to point out real quick and this is one of the reasons why I bought your token, really, is that, I had an issue. Like I had something that I was trying to accomplish. And then, a mutual friend said, hey, talk to my friend Carlos. Maybe he can help with that. And I don't know if you knew who I was or not at the time, other than like, I just needed some help with something. And, a friend said, hey, can you do anything? And you jumped all over just trying to help me out and get this going. You never asked me for shit. You never said, hey, can you promote my company? You never said, hey, it's going to cost you this much. you never really did anything but really step up and help me get this thing going, which tells me you're passionate about what you're doing. You're glad to be helpful. And, you still haven't asked me for anything. So, it's like some of this stuff, obviously, if we come to terms and we say, hey, this is something we can do, there's going to be some costs associated with it. I'm all for it. I get it. But I just wanted to point out just like the kind of person you've been just in the short time I've met you and have communicated with you. You've got a different mindset than most. I can definitely say that. I think you're really trying to build something that is going to become something, but you're not necessarily worried about like how you're benefiting immediately. And that says a lot because that's just not common in the crypto space. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this interview with you, is just kind of let people know that. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Carlos, this is cool. We're obviously going to be staying in touch. And once we get to the point where you guys are going to start kicking this off, we need to do something live. Let's kick this thing off live. Let everybody watch it. Let's create an agent. Let's break down everything that this thing is going to be. And let's touch base again in a couple of weeks when you guys are ready to rock.
Beautiful. We will do that, Jason.
Okay, good deal. All right. I'll see you soon. If you'd like to read news about politics, cryptocurrency, finance, tech, artificial intelligence, gaming, and more, check out twistedtimes.io. This is my news website that I've created that utilizes artificial intelligence, RSS feeds, and rewrites the news in a non-biased way that just gives you the details about what's going on in the world. Any one of these articles is going to be comical, interesting, a fun read. You're going to learn a lot. It's real news. None of the details have been changed, just the way it's been written so that it doesn't basically brainwash you or insult you while you read. If you're an intelligent individual that just likes news for what it is, just to know what's going on in the world, check out twistedtimes.io, bookmark it, check it every day. New articles flow in constantly. Thanks for your support, and I'll see you on twistedtimes.io.